Welcome to the Coin Club, a podcast brought to you by the Seven House Coins, Currency, Bullion, where we discuss everything related to numismatics. I'm glad to have you along with me for my journey and excited to share with you the very best of numismatics.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Coin Club Podcast. Episode 13 is here for your listening pleasure, and I hope that you are all healthy and happy and enjoying this great hobby that we love. I hope you enjoyed the last episode where we took a look at the last two branch mints of the United States Mint, and I hope you shared it with your friends who aren't listeners as well. Remember, everyone, if you enjoy the show, please help me out by telling all of your numismatic friends about the show and sharing an episode on your social media pages. It really helps the podcast grow. On this episode of the podcast, we'll bring you the newest news that is news, a couple of reminders for all you roll hunters out there on what you should be looking for, the World Coin Spotlight, a little What Were You Thinking, and on the heels of the last few episodes, I'll introduce you to some of the famous mint engravers that have designed some of the coins that you all love. Well, folks, we have a full house here tonight. Your favorite podcast host is here, the executive producer, the writer, the editor, and I have along with me tonight the engineer also. No, really, it's just me. One-man show, folks. Thanks for all the kind words and messages that you sent me since the last episode. I really appreciate, and so does the crew. Now, on with the show. In the news, on October 1st, David Ryder is out as the director of the United States Mint. Ryder served 2 terms as director. He was the 34th and the 39th director. He said in a statement, "During this global pandemic, the U.S. Mint has showcased American excellence. Not only did the Mint meet its primary mission of producing circulating coinage, but it generated near-record revenue by introducing wildly popular numismatic products at a time in which many of its peers around the world ceased operations. Thank you to all the employees who work tirelessly and play a role in ensuring that the Mint can meet the demands of the public, deliver quality products, and operate effectively." The announcement came on September 24th and listed Allison Doon as the new acting director of the Mint. She was the chief admin officer for the Mint and has also served in many government roles in her past. The Mint has also announced that there will be a new member on the Citizens Coinage Advisory Committee. Dr. Harcourt Fuller will join the committee and replace outgoing member Thomas J. Urim. Fuller was recommended by the Speaker of the House of Representatives and has a lifelong history of collecting. He currently teaches African and African diaspora history at the Georgia State University in Atlanta. He is a member of the American Numismatic Association and the International Banknote Society. He has collected since he was a child. The American Numismatic Society, his presentation of Money Talks, Coin World, and the IBNS Journal have featured some of his numismatic research, and he has also created the Exposition Black Money exhibit, World Currency featuring African and African diasporic history and cultures. Along with this, he also has a documentary in the works, Black Women on Money. Congrats to Dr. Fuller on his appointment and best wishes. The 2022 American Innovation Dollar designs have been announced. Descriptions from the U.S. Mint's website are as follows. Rhode Island features Nathaniel Hershoff's famous Reliance yacht at full speed in the waters surrounding Rhode Island. The design is bordered by a rope evoking the nautical scene. The Vermont dollar features a young female snowboarder in the air performing a trick called a melon grab, set against a mountainous winter skyline inspired by the landscape of Vermont. The aim of the design is to capture a sense of the energy and exuberance of snowboarding through the movement implied by diagonal lines and curved shapes. The Kentucky dollar pays homage to the home of bluegrass music. The design features a banjo, an important bluegrass instrument, tilted to one side, alluding to the rhythm and movement of music. The Tennessee dollar depicts a Tennessee farm with the newly installed power lines lining the road. Check out all of these designs on the Mint's website at www.usmint.gov. October 12th saw the release of the 2021 Rolls and Bags of American Innovation Dollars for North Carolina. October 14th saw the 2021 American Innovation Dollar Series proof set come out. And on October 21st, the Mighty Minters 2021 ornament will be released along with their official Christmas ornament. Heritage Auctions will have a November 1st auction featuring the Inco and Gold pattern showcase. Proxy bidding is open now. Check their website for auction details. Our friends at PCGS have announced their quarterly specials. From October 1st till December 31st, take advantage of these deals. PCGS 35th Anniversary Commemorative, a limited edition medal designed to celebrate their 35th anniversary. If you qualify by submitting 10 or more coins through this time, you will receive one of these medals for free. While supplies last, if you submit 5 or more coins, you will receive a 35th Anniversary Limited Edition Gold PCGS box. For every PCGS banknote submitter, you will receive a limited edition PCGS banknote bag to carry all of your favorite notes around. Check their website for more details. PCGS has also announced that Great Collections coin auctions have submitted on behalf of the owner the world's most valuable numismatic item to be graded. This 1,000 Bitcoin gold Kas, a physical coin, was graded Proof 70 Decam. This 1-ounce gold coin was purchased in December of 2011 for a measly sum of $4,905. It was put in a drawer and utterly forgotten about until 10 years later. Valued today at around $48 million, it dwarfs the record sale of the most recent top dollar coins. This coin is not for sale. However, you can go on over to Great Collections and bid on an MS67 graded gold-plated 25 BTC coin. No reserve on that auction. For all of you Harry Potter fans, head on over to Les Monnaies de Paris. On October 4th, they announced the release of their Harry Potter coin series. Gold and silver coins are up for offer. They also have an offering of 2024 Olympic coins that will be sure to catch the eye of all you sports fans out there. Roll hunters are the base of this hobby. It's where many of us started and our interest in coins budded from. I still enjoy sitting down and going through a few rolls from time to time to see what I can find. Most of the time I get sore eyes and not a lot more, but there's always that lure that I'm going to find something interesting or worth value. I would love to hear what you are hunting for, but in the meantime, I'll mention a few of the items you should be looking for. Remember those West Point minute quarters everyone was so crazy about? Yep, they're still out there. Keep checking for those, and currently they're selling for around $10 up to $40 plus for the W minute with the V75 privy mark. The 2021 Washington crossing the Delaware quarter, for me, has been elusive up until a couple days ago when I got one in change. These are plagued with small die chips to strike-throughs to large die chips on the crown of Washington's head. The large die chip is selling on eBay right now, upwards of $100 to $200. That will obviously go down over time. However, if you have one now, you can cash in and bank a couple bucks to upgrade your collection. In keeping with the quarter theme, I'll remind you of the 1999 Delaware Stake Quarter error, the spitting horse. It's usually pretty easy to find once you see it for the first time. It actually looks like the horse is spitting. Ranging from a couple bucks up to the 20 in good condition, these are still coveted among Stake Quarter error collectors. Best of luck to all you roll hunters out there, and check back on the next episode of the podcast for some more reminders for you roll hunters. The World Coin Spotlight takes us down to El Salvador, just south of our last spotlight on Guatemala, which is their neighbor to the north. Honduras borders them to the east and the Pacific Ocean on the west. The coin we'll feature today is the 1892 1 peso coin. It is composed of 900 fine silver and the remainder in copper. It weighs in at 25 grams and has a diameter of 37 millimeters with a thickness of 2 millimeters. The obverse of this coin, to me, is the most stunning part of the coin. It has the old national coat of arms in the center. The legend features República de Salvador with the date, fineness, and mint mark at the bottom. The reverse of this coin showcases a bust of Christopher Columbus. His name, as it is in Spanish-speaking world, is on the top of the reverse, Cristobal Colon. Just below the bust is un peso, and just below that is America Central. The mintage of this year stands at 250,500 and was minted at the Central American Mint in San Salvador, El Salvador. This coin was produced from 1892 to 1914, and all coins bear the CAM mint mark. However, not all of the coins were minted at the Central American Mint. Brussels, Belgium, also minted coins along with the Philadelphia and San Francisco mints. Once again, a coin minted for another country in the United States that you probably didn't know about. A very cool silver coin and something I would like to add to my collection at one point.
What the heck were you thinking?
Well, this story comes from one of my screw-ups. As you all know, I love to travel, and on one of my most recent trips where I was in Spain, I was introduced to the zero-denomination euro bills. These are collector bills that you can find all throughout Europe in various tourist areas. I couldn't resist grabbing one. They share a lot of the same properties as a real euro, however, they have a zero denomination to them. Well, this one that I was so proud to add to my collection, I picked up at the Catedral de Granada. If you ever have the opportunity to visit Spain, Granada should be on your list of places to go, and amongst many other sites in the city, you should check out the cathedral. It's very impressive. Anyhow, I picked up this bill from a convenient vending machine that you put in a couple euro coins and out pops your brand new bill. I had many different destinations, so I carefully packed it in my carry-on and made sure that it kept its pristine, flat, and uncirculated condition. When packing for the return trip home, I put it in the middle of a couple of postcards and figured it would fare well on the ride home like this. I put my carry-on in the overhead compartment, and so far so good. At some point, I must have took a couple of things out of the bag on the trip over the pond and forgot about the new addition to my collection and stuffed it back in the bag in a hurry. When I got home, I unpacked and found my crisp new €0 was now a somewhat crisp bill with a nice little crease in it. The value of this story is not so much the money. It didn't cost very much at all. It's all about how you package your goodies to get to the final destination. Don't forget to send me some of your stories so I can feature them on the show. Help others so they don't get caught in the what were you thinking situation too. The United States Mint has had its fair share of engravers appointed to this prestigious position over the years. If you are a true mint enthusiast, you will know most of the names you are about to hear. With coinage comes engravers, and I'm excited to share with you some of those who graced the history of the United States Mint throughout its history. Officially, a man by the name of Robert Scott became the United States Mint's first chief engraver on November 23, 1793. If you remember correctly from past episodes, the Mint was established on April 2, 1892, so you may be wondering what was going on before Robert Scott got his appointment. Well, let's take a step back and look at a man by the name of Joseph Wright. Joseph was one of the first mint workers who was commissioned by Thomas Jefferson himself to make a die that would mint a medal for Henry Lee, a Revolutionary War hero who missed out on the gold medals that were made by the Paris Mint for honoring our war heroes from that time. Wright succumbed to an early death from yellow fever on September 13, 1792. His history at the Mint is contested, and accounts of the time can only link him to the medal mentioned above and a big maybe to the Liberty Cap sent. Once again, that was a big maybe, and he officially was not appointed as a mint engraver and was said to never have produced any dies, hence the contested account of this link with the Liberty Cap sent. Back to Robert Scott. Scott, prior to living in Philadelphia, called Fredericksburg, Virginia his home in 1775. Here he took on the responsibility of engraving plates for Virginia currency. He made many designs throughout his run at this, and is best known during this time for his depiction of the Virginia seal design, which portrayed an overthrowing of tyranny. He moved to the capital in 1780, Richmond, and was officially known as the engraver to the Commonwealth of Virginia under the then Governor Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson had him engrave a medal that was to be given to the Native Americans in the area at the time. It was called the Virginia Happy While United Medal. He called Richmond his home until it was destroyed by British troops and essentially burnt to the ground. With this, he planned his move to good old Philadelphia. Upon settling in Philly, he started an engraving shop which was located at the corner of what today is Vine and Front Streets. He advertised his services heavily in local newspapers, and it caught the eye of Robert Morris, which was the superintendent of the Office of Finance for the U.S. You might be saying to yourself at this point, big deal, the guy engraved paper money before he started at the Mint. Well, this is a very important part of the history in this great country, in that Morris had Scott engrave paper money that was used to finance the siege of Yorktown. For all of you history buffs out there, this should be very familiar, as this was the decisive battle of the American Revolution. He continued his work in engraving with maps and other items of importance, including engraving the Great Seal of the United States, which was brought before Congress by Charles Thomson and approved on June 20th of 1782. During his tenure at the Mint, Scott designed the Liberty Cap half cent as well as the flowing hair silver coins, designs for the first gold coins, draped bust coins, the heraldic eagle reverse design, a modification to the Great Seal, rate stamp dies for each state in the Union, and the dies that depicted the seals for the Department of the Navy and the U.S. State Department. His salary at the time was $1,200 per year. In today's dollars, that is around $24,700. He served as the first chief engraver of the United States Mint from his appointment on November 23, 1793, until his death on November 3, 1823. The second chief engraver of the Mint was William Neese. He was appointed on January 29, 1824, and served until his death in 1840. Neese was born in Lancaster, PA, and was a war veteran from the War of 1812. He was a field engineer. Another important name in the budding history of the Mint, Neese saw accomplishments with the design of the quarter in 1830 and gold coinage redesign in 1834. The introduction of the new Liberty head on the half dollar, the design on the classic head motif, and a modification to the capped bust design on the half dime through the half dollar. Moving on to the third chief engraver. It is a name a lot of you who are collectors will recognize, Christian Gobrecht. He served the Mint from 1835 to 1844. Gobrecht was born in Hanover, Pennsylvania. PA is representing here with the second engraver to the U.S. Mint. Looks like we're seeing a pattern here. Gobrecht learned the trade of engraving in Manheim, Pennsylvania, and eventually moved to Philadelphia in 1811, having had a brief stay in Baltimore, Maryland. The guy was smart. He was an inventor on top of holding the ability to be an engraver as well. His career at the Mint can be traced back to as early as 1823, where he filled in between the death of the first engraver, Scott, and the appointment of the second engraver, Neese. In 1835, he was officially hired on as what we call the second engraver. He designed the seated Liberty designs, as you may know, which inspired the trade dollar. His Gobrecht dollar design, the obverse of the Liberty head design for the quarter, half and gold eagle coins, and the braided hair type half and large cents. Upon Gobrecht's death on July 23, 1844, the Mint was looking for its fourth chief engraver. This position was appointed to James Barton Longacre, another son from the state of Pennsylvania, Delaware County to be exact. Longacre served from September 16, 1844 until his passing on January 1, 1869. Longacre was busy during his tenure at the Mint. He is credited with the design of hundreds of different dies, and he is most notably attributed to the design of the Flying Eagle cent, Indian head cent, 2-cent piece, 3-cent piece in silver and nickel, shield nickel, Liberty seated half dime reverse, Liberty seated dime reverse, the Liberty head gold dollar, the 3-piece dollar, and the Liberty head double eagle. Quite the accomplishment, and during his tenure you must remember that there was a large spat between Gobrecht and the chief coiner at the time, Franklin Peel, as well as the director, Robert Patterson. The United States was embroiled in its own civil war during this tenure, which created problems within the mint in regards to supply. All in all, throughout many of the struggles he had while being the chief engraver, he put out a plethora of designs and is one of the more famous persons to hold the position. William Barber was the next chief engraver at the mint. He served the position from 1869 to 1879. Barber was actually employed at the mint by Longacre in 1865 as an assistant after his work in Boston caught his attention. Barber designed many coins throughout his history at the mint. However, he has a bit of a history with another man we'll note here coming up, George T. Morgan. They were in a pattern war between each other for making standard coinage for the United States. Barber's designs include the trade dollar, the 20-cent piece, and many pattern designs. 1872 Amazonian patterns, 3 notably in 1877, which were the Half Union and the Liberty at the Seashore 20-cent piece, and several half-dollar patterns. 1878 saw a pattern coin for the silver dollar. In 1879, on vacation in Atlantic City, New Jersey, Barber fell ill. He returned home, where he passed on August 31, 1879. Charles Barber was the 6th chief engraver at the mint. He served from 1879 until 1917. Last name rings a bell, right? It should. Charles was the son of the last chief engraver, William. Upon his father's passing, he was appointed to the position. Many thought the position would go to George T. Morgan, and it even created a slew of gossip that George and Charles hated each other. It was quite the contrary, as has been most recently dispelled as a rumor at best. The two were actually pretty amicable with each other. While Charles was in his position, he was a very detailed-oriented engraver. President Roosevelt and the mint director at the time, George Roberts, requested that Barber take a trip across the pond over to Europe to take a look at a handful of foreign facilities to find out how they minted coins and share some of our information with them. All in an effort to make our minting processes more efficient. Charles was another busy bee during his tenure. He is credited with the design of the Barber dime, quarter and half dollar, the Liberty Head nickel, pattern coins consisting of the Flowing Hair Stella, the Wash Lady Silver Pattern Quarter, the 1891 Liberty Head patterns, and an 1896 cent and 5-cent experimental pieces. He was also heavy into the designing of commemorative coins, which can be seen in his obverse designs of the Columbian Exposition half dollar, the Panama Pacific Exposition half dollar, the Panama Pacific Exposition quarter eagle, and the William McKinley Memorial gold dollar. He designed the Isabella quarter, the Silver Lafayette dollar, the Louisiana Purchase Exposition gold dollar, the Lewis and Clark Exposition gold dollar, and the Pikes Peak Southwest Exposition medal. Not only did he design coins for us here at home, he is credited with the 1883 design of the Kingdom of Hawaii dime, quarter, half dollar, and dollar coins, an 1897 Sichuan Province of China coin, and Cuba's 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, and 40 centavos coins, which were minted from 1915 to 1961. Quite the portfolio of designs, if I must say so myself. Charles passed away on February 18, 1917, and was so beloved and respected by the Mint and the Treasury departments that the flags at the Mint were lowered to half-staff on the day of his funeral. Lucky number 7 belongs to George T. Morgan. Mr. Morgan was born over the pond in Birmingham, England, and you'll never guess what his occupation was. A die engraver. Yup. Way back on November 24th, 1845, he came into this world, and in 1876, he hopped on a plane, and 8 hours later, he was sitting in Newark Liberty, waiting for air traffic control to assign a gate. Well, not exactly. He ventured over on a ship, which at the time would have been an arduous journey of 12 days, but the year was 1876. In kind of like a LinkedIn search at his time, the Mint director, H.R. Lindemann, wrote his old pals at the London Mint and asked those boys if they had anyone they could send over to help out the Philadelphia Mint. Lindemann didn't have much faith in Barber and his sons at the time and wanted to get some fresh blood in the mix. He actually served as the chief engraver from 1917 to 1925, but his most famous work came with the design of the Morgan dollar. An interesting fact here, the mint at Philadelphia was so crowded at the time of Morgan's arrival that he ended up working off-site. Morgan is most famous, obviously, for the Morgan dollar. However, he also had a hand in many pattern coins, several varieties of half dollars from the year 1877 and 1879, a schoolgirl dollar, an 1882 shield earring coin. One of his coins that was never released for production was a $100 gold Union coin. Imagine someone coming up with one of those. Kind of like hunting for the 1964 peace dollars. What do you think? Does someone have one of those bad boys in their hoard somewhere? Probably not, but it's cool to think at least one could have been made and is sitting elusively in someone's collection. Morgan ended up passing away on January 4th, 1925. Now for the 8th designer. I want you to grab one of your Roosevelt dimes and check out the obverse, just below the neck of Roosevelt. You see those two initials right there? Yep, you got it. Chief Engraver, number 8, John R. Sinnock. Sinnock was born on July 8, 1888. Looks like this guy was destined to be number 8, doesn't it? Raton, Mexico was his hometown. He served as the chief engraver from 1925 through 1947. During his tenure, he can be credited with the Roosevelt dime and the Franklin half dollar, among others. He also sculpted a couple of medals you may have heard of. Sculpted, but not designed. The Distinguished Service Cross, the Purple Heart, and the Yangtze Medal. Gilroy Roberts served as the 9th chief engraver at the Mint. He served from 1948 to 1964. He was the designer of the obverse of the Kennedy half dollar. Not dying while holding the position, he retired and went on to be the chairman of the Franklin Mint. Yes, that's a name many of you have heard of before, the Franklin Mint. Number 10 belongs to Frank Gaccaro. He was a Philly native, born on August 26, 1909. He was an apprentice of sculpture and attended the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Arts. This guy, while in his role as chief engraver of the Mint from 1965 to 1981, actually caught the attention of J. Edgar Hoover. Hoover thought he had a connection to an organized crime family from Italy. Gaccaro denied the allegations and nothing ever came of it. Before gaining the role, like others, he was an assistant engraver. He is responsible for the designs of both sides of the Ike dollar and the Susan B. Anthony dollar. He is also famous for the reverse designs of the Kennedy half dollar and the Lincoln Memorial Cent. He lived a long life and did see retirement. He went on to design medals for public and private groups. He passed away at the ripe old age of 92. The last chief engraver of the United States Mint was held by the first woman to ever hold that position, Elizabeth Jones. Now wait a minute, you're saying. There's a chief engraver today, so how can it be possible that Elizabeth was the final one? Just hold tight, we'll get to that. Jones, the 11th and final official chief engraver of the Mint, was born on May 31st, 1935. She served from 1981 until she resigned in 1991. She was a leading medal designer in her field world over. While at the Mint, she designed the 1982 George Washington commemorative half dollar, obverse of the 1983 Los Angeles Olympic $1 coin, the 1986 Statue of Liberty gold half eagle, and the 1988 Olympic gold half eagle as well. 1988 must have been a very busy year for her, as she also oversaw the commissioning of the brand new Mint, the West Point Mint. So back to Jones, being the last chief engraver at the Mint. After she retired, no one was appointed to the position of chief engraver of the United States Mint, and in 1996, Congress officially abolished the position, which can be seen in Public Law 104-208. Presidents appointed chief engravers, and Congress said no more. From 96 until 2009, officially, no one held the position. The title, nothing. In 2009, the director of the Mint, Edmund C. Moy, placed a man whose name most of us know to the position, John Mercanti. Mercanti was not presidentially appointed, as the public law signed by Congress did away with that. Moy said that it was not a restoration of the position appointed by the president. However, it was a title given to Mercanti by the positions, roles, and responsibility to the Mint's Office of Public Affairs. It's only a temporary position, folks. How many of you heard that at your jobs? Every year, the position is evaluated, and evidently it can be extended up to 5 years at a time, from what I understand. Mercanti is another Philly native. He joined the Mint in 1974. This guy has been so active during his career at the Mint in regards to designing and sculpting that I couldn't possibly list all the achievements that he has under his belt. I counted 68, but I'm sure I'm missing one or two. Mercanti served until 2010, and the position sat vacant until Joseph Mena came in February 2019. He still holds the position today. Mena is responsible for the 2010 Lincoln Cent, 2007 First Spouse coins, the 2007 Utah State Quarter Reverse, and the 2007 presidential dollars. Well, folks, that's quite the history that our little mint has. Many, many famous people have walked the floors of the Mint and toiled for long hours to produce the coins we know and love today. Medals, coins, and awards, all created by the folks we spoke about above. It's a super important part of our history, and they were all part of the mix with coins. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Coin Club podcast. I sure enjoyed having you with me. Thanks again for listening, and I look forward to seeing you the next time on the Coin Club podcast. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Coin Club podcast. I had a great time with you today and look forward to sharing with you on the next episode. If you've liked what you've heard, please consider supporting me on Patreon at the Coin Club podcast. Please follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook at the 7 House Coins Currency Bullion and also on Instagram at the same name. You can also go to my website, 7houseccb.com, and give me some feedback on this episode or some suggestions on what you would like to see on future episodes. As always, I'm grateful to all of you for your support and look forward to seeing you the next time on the Coin Club podcast.